Hey guys, today we're back here in the Hunter Call of the Wild, here in Medved Taiga, and today we're going to be going over the best way to set up, find your drink zones, and spawn yourself your very first moose. Great one. I am going to be sharing with you guys some pretty cool tips and tricks today, guys, so I do highly recommend that you do stay until the end. If you haven't already, smash that like button, subscribe if you want to join the Squid Gang, and let's hop right in. Also guys, the Discord server is down in the description, where if you guys have any questions or concerns about anything, you guys can feel free to let us know there, and either me, personally, or a moderator will reply as soon as possible. Please don't go crazy if you don't get instant replies, but I would say that we will for sure reply within 60 minutes. Obviously, the very first thing that you guys are going to need to do, and you're going to need to do for any Great One grind, or any type of grind in particular, is find all of your drink zones. Now this is quite a challenge here in Medved, and it's going to be something that takes you several hours. I personally completed it in the course of 2 days. I would say that you can find them all in probably a 4 to 5 hour playing sesh, but a lot of people don't want to sit there and play for that long. So personally what I did is I just kind of went everywhere there's water, because that's really the only way to explain where moose are. They're going to be all around this coast here, all the way down this coast. They're going to be quite literally everywhere there's water besides these 2 lakes and 1 or 2 lakes in this course of lakes over here. I believe this lake. Stay until the end of it, guys, and I will share with you a very detailed moose hotspot guide for Medved Taiga. When you are searching for zones, you're going to want to watch for moose just like this that are traveling. You're going to want to just follow them until they actually get to their drink zone, because if you do have it in the 12:30 to 16:30 range, they will all be either walking or drinking at their drink zones. You're also going to want to be listening for mating calls. You're going to want to be looking for tracks on the floor, because most likely you can actually track the tracks to that drink zone. Say for example you were 25 minutes in real time later than this moose was right here, and you were walking in this area, you could go over there, find her tracks, and follow them all the way up to her drink zone, which she is actually in fact going to right now. You're also going to want to be looking for zones that are actually females and males, a mixture of them. Preferably 3s and above if you're using herd management, otherwise you guys can just continue to shoot males over and over and over again. And eventually the Great One will spawn, but if you guys want a more entertaining grind, which don't get ahead of me, you know I don't like that, we're going to talk about herd management in a bit. I do recommend shooting the 3s and above, so just stay tuned for that. Once you have actually found all your drink zones, you guys are going to want to come running around finding your shooter zones. Now I am going to be setting this up in kind of a herd management perspective, because I think a solid 75% of the players that are doing this grind are going to use herd management. What you guys are going to want to do is you guys are going to want to pick your 16 shooter zones. You guys are going to want to come through with tents and tripods. I personally come through with tents first, and then fast travel to those tents in the future and place tripods in the designated area where I would like to put them at. So we are going to use this zone here as an example, since there is a pretty nice shooter bull in there. I'm gonna run about, let me just mark him exactly where he's at. The drink zone is what matters. You're gonna want to run 250 meters in the opposite direction. Doesn't have to be exactly 250, but that's what's gonna give you the lowest chance of them spooking when you spawn in to your tent. Now you guys can place the tent, and don't be afraid if the moose around you spook. Obviously they're just gonna come right back when you set the time. You guys can head into your storage here and grab yourself a tripod if you want to. It is possible to grind without tripods, but you guys are going to have kind of a hard time managing your hunting pressure. I do recommend placing it about 200 meters away, so that way if you do have to use the moose call, they will be able to hear it. You can also do this later on if you want, if you guys don't actually want to do it right now. That's quite usually what I do, is come through in the future and place down my tripods, but like I said, this is just an example zone. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know down below. I will try as hard as I can to answer comments, but it is quite a challenge because there's so many of them. The best way to actually ask me questions personally, or again my moderators will reply, is to join the Discord server. The link is down in the description. Now, when you guys are running up to your lakes, I've had quite a bit of trouble with when I was looking for drink zones and when I'm setting up my grind. When I run up to the lakes, I will actually accidentally run too close and spook the zones. Now this can be very annoying, because once you reset the time, there is a slight chance that they will not be there. That's when we talk about things like the 1 minute trick, etc, etc, we'll talk about later on. I recommend just dropping a waypoint either in the middle here, so that way you can stop sprinting 150 meters from this waypoint to have no possible chance of them spooking. Or you can mark the zone that's closest to you and stop sprinting when you're 150 meters from that zone, and that should give you basically no chance of them spooking. If you guys want to see us grind live, we do have a couple other members of my esports team. that we actually join up with and stream live basically every day at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys have any questions about anything, you can drop them in chat there. There usually isn't that much people there, and that's kind of a good thing because I can instantly answer any of you guys' questions, and I would say I can easily answer anyone's questions up to about 60 people being there. And it's okay if I miss it like one time. All you guys gotta do is wait a few minutes and then redrop it into chat, and I will definitely answer that ASAP. If not, then my moderators will. So guys, you guys are going to want to make sure that you guys are setting up at shooter zones, and that is really what makes this grind kind of confusing for beginner grinders, and I will tell you guys, it's really not that confusing when someone properly explains it to you, and that's literally what I'm about to do. So shooter zones are going to be zones that have one or more level 3s in them, and a lot of times you guys are going to find some of the smaller level 3s, and if there is 2 or more smaller level 3s in those zones, then I myself would consider it a shooter zone, but that's personally. It's really just preference is the word I was looking for there. If there's multiple 4s in the zone, it's definitely a shooter zone. The reason I would consider 2 small level 3s a shooter zone is because if you continue to shoot both of those level 3s, taking 2 out every rotation, they will eventually respawn as bigger level 3s, eventually bigger 4s, and then 5s, and then that could be, a potential Great One zone. Other people would just choose to leave them. It really just depends on how many animals you have on your map. If your map's already herd managed from previous grinds, it really just is down to preference. But you guys are definitely going to want to make sure that you are leaving those 2s on the map. Again, that's herd management, which we're going to talk about just here in a second. Okay, so this zone here is a shooter zone, definitely. These 2 just spooked from, I believe, this zone, which had quite a bit of males in it, and hopefully a female. So what I do for zones like this that I'm not really fully sure is I will pick what zones I'm going to be shooting out of, which potentially could be all 3 here, unless this is a single female zone over here, which I kind of believe it is. I can't really tell, but I strongly think that is. Let me highlight these here. Yes, okay, so that's for that zone. So I'm going to be shooting out of these 2 zones. So what I'm going to do here, probably place a 10 up there somewhere and a tripod here. Then I'm just going to leave it for now. And I'll come back, and if there's anything that I need to change, I will change it then. I don't really need to worry about getting perfectly set up right now. I will make slight adjustments when I start grinding. I did the exact same thing for my Red Deer Great One grind, which I successfully spawned one in under 500 kills and the other in ridiculous 2,800 kills. It took me about a year to spawn that one. It was absolutely insane, but that's when I was still pretty new to the game. Now I have 800 plus diamonds and 3 Great Ones. 1 black bear from the missions and 2 red deer. I've actually made a slight change in plans here since there is a lake with moose zones here. I don't know what's there yet, but I did realize that they are right next to each other like this. So I probably am going to put a tent here, because this is the female zone. It just has 1 female in it. Then I'm probably going to put a tripod in this area here, so I can just run up, shoot these 2 zones. Then I'll put a tripod here, run up, shoot these 2 zones, or whatever zone has something in it. And then if I want, claim tents, I'll put those down, but I don't usually do that. Unless it's a 150 plus meter run to claim the animals. It is faster to put claim tents down. If you guys don't know what claim tents are, it's essentially just a tent here, tripod there, and then instead of walking over to claim the deer, you would just put a tent there so you can fast travel, grab the deer, and continue with your rotation. I like to save tents myself. And last but not least, with the setup guide, I am still going to talk about herd management, so don't leave yet. You can shoot as you're setting up if you want to. I don't recommend it because it could potentially make your zones jump, and it kind of makes a lot of weird things happen, but that's up to you if you want to do it. You can occasionally shoot one and it shouldn't mess anything up. So along with herd management, there also is a method called stacking. And basically what this is, it is, oh my gosh, holy reindeer. It's the process of leaving max level animals on your map, and what that will do, basically diamonds if you don't know what max level animals are, so 5 medium moose, you're going to be leaving them on your map once you've spawned them. What this can do is it can help with solo zones, which is not really anything to worry about right off the bat. I would wait until you have 10 or 11 diamonds on your map before you actually start worrying about solos. I may make a whole dedicated video to managing your solo zones. But what this will do is the map will try to balance itself out since it has so many max level animals on your map, and what that will do is it will fill up your other zones with small level animals, so 2s and below if you're doing moose. While this may sound really bad, it's actually very, very good because your shooter zones, the zones that you're harvesting your 3s and 4s out of, are going to start to fill up with bigger animals since all the other zones are filled out with smaller animals, again the map is trying to balance itself out. This can help spawn things like more diamonds, bigger rares, and potentially even a great one faster. That hasn't really been proven yet. But it can spawn more diamonds and definitely bigger rares. I've had some crazy rares from the Red Deer grind. But anyways, my friends, I think that is really about it. If you guys want a huge hotspot for moose, this lake, look at all the zones. Thank you so much, my friends, for staying till the end. If you made it to this point in the video, let me know down below by commenting cookie. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Let me know if this video was helpful. I did put as much information as I possibly could into it, and I put about 2 hours out of my day into making this video, so it would help out a ton if you could drop the video a share it with a friend who's also thinking of setting up a moose grind, and let them know that it really isn't as complicated as a lot of people make it seem. It just is really time consuming. We'll put it at that. Thank you guys. Peace out, Squid Gang.